Welcome to Blue Tinted Glasses, the home of Leicester City talk on YouTube. Fan debates, live watch-alongs, post-match reactions, and all the Foxes banter you could ask for. Subscribe now and see the game through Blue Tinted Glasses.
Just into race clear. He's got Jamie Vardy with him. Jamie Vardy sets off. Jamie Vardy! Pull back here for Darwin. Oh, he scored! An absolute belter! That is trademark Abdul Fatahwood.
This one into the box. Nugent over the top. Oh, what a goal! David Nugent's just scored a beauty. He's made Forest look like fools.
Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City.
Good evening and welcome to Blue Tinted Glasses, and this is your Tuesday night tactics show. This is where we analyse the games and look at the tactical reasons why we're winning and, unfortunately, in recent times, losing some of the Leicester games. Now, before I bring in my co-host, I just want to make a bit of an announcement. So on the weekend, we were doing the watch-along for the Millwall game, and I made some comments that were a bit naughty on my behalf. So I just want to apologise to all the Millwall fans, if there's any that's listening. I really wish I could take those comments back. You can go on Twitter if you want to look at it, but want to apologise for that. Not intentional, slip of the tongue. I'm one of those that often talks without thinking, which is part of the appeal, but also part of the downside of Blue Tinted Glasses and listening to Neil. So just wanted to get that out of the way. But now that I have, I'm going to bring in my co-host. And look at this, all the way from Denmark. Joining me tonight, it is the Sports Interactive to my Sega Europe Publishing. It is Andreas Duck. Good evening. How are you? And have you had any sleep, or have you just been playing Football Manager?
Yeah, I have actually. I was actually also at the gym today as well, so good to get back into the swing of those things. But no, I've been playing a shit ton of Football Manager, man. I'm almost done with my first Premier League season with Leicester. And, you know, I'll say it's going all right. I haven't spent too much. I'm definitely staying up, but I just got battered by Spurs in the Cup final, man, in the Carabao Cup. Xavi Simons and Vitor Roque just banging in whatever they please, man. Fucking disgusting how good they are in the game. So yeah, I got battered and it hurts and I'm sad. And now I'm going to be talking about how we lost in real life. So that's even more sad.
It is. Well, you know, unfortunately, I thought I'm going to try and look at multiple games because now we're getting game weeks where we've got several games at once. And this was one of them. And yeah, what a difference a week makes because, oh my God, a rough week for us. And I've got, I think, in artistic form to describe, Duck, how I feel this season is going. This is probably what I do. The HMS Pista League is well and truly sunk. We are in big trouble, I feel, and not the greatest of weeks for Leicester. Big worries, I think. So on tonight's show, we're going to have a look at the two main reasons, right? Number one, defensive woes. We've seen that. I think that was surprising. We weren't too bad earlier in the season, but now this is really starting to creep into our game. Sort of poor goals to concede, some bozo moments. The bozo sound effect is going to be used probably quite a lot tonight. But also, I think this has been a story of the entire season, and that's poor chance creation. The XG is not looking good. That's a worry. And we're going to look at what we're trying to do. And it'll be interesting because duck ball apparently is working in real life. So maybe what would you do to fix the issues? I've got some suggestions too, because I think if we don't solve this, we are going to be in big trouble for the season. Yeah, the league is pissing on us. Absolutely, Ethan. And this is a bit hard to see. So hopefully you can see what I'm showing here. But here we are. We're in 10th position. Here we've got some of the XG. And I think the problem is now that we're sort of 12 games into the season, is this is going to give you, I think, a fairly accurate picture of where you are in the league and where you might even end up finishing. And remember, we might have a points deduction to come along. And I think the real worry is here you can see XG. So Leicester should have scored about 14 goals. We've actually scored 15. So that's bad because that means we're outperforming the amount of goals we're supposed to score and we're not too creative in our games. And what has stuck is we should have conceded 17 goals. We've actually only conceded 12. And so that means despite the fact that we are going to be having a lot of bozo moments, there we go. And look at this. Also, someone says they think Duck's trim is bad luck for the results. You might.
I haven't had a trim in a few months, mate. I'll be honest with you.
Maybe that's where the bad luck is. But I mean,
I'm in my caveman era, right? With FM releasing. I'm sorry, I don't have time. Like you look at the beard as well. I'm committed. I'm born. I'm born and raised on the tactics. That's why I'm on the show as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So gotta live with it.
So that's real concern, because at the same time, you can see that Coventry, I mean, they're fully deserving of their position. And I will say the one stat that is good is that our attendance is the highest in the league. And I think given the current situation of the club, that's actually very, very impressive. So big respect to all you fans out there that keep going to the games. So we're going to take a look at two games, obviously, and I'll talk about them. I'm going to talk about both of them at the same time, actually. So I hope you guys don't mind. I'm going to go a bit back and forth, and that's because some patterns you're seeing in both games, and I want to call them out. And I think that's the issue. Is if you are starting to see the same patterns in multiple games, then it's not just, you know, a one-off, right? It's a consistent thing that we need to fix. So here was the Millwall game. And as I said, it's on Twitter. I mean, they fully deserved the win. We did start well, but starting well for 10 minutes don't matter, Duck, when it's a 90-minute match. And you can see that they outperformed us on the XG. They had 2 big chances. We didn't create anything. All the stats were kind of there. And, you know, if you were to look at that, what is maybe the stat on there that would concern you the most? I'm actually interested. It's not a trick question. Yeah.
I think for me, what concerns me the most is actually not their XG. I think their XG is not based on our defense in general being poor, but us having bozo moments, you know, the slip-ups, right? The Luke Thomas giving away. I've just looked at it now. Like, their goal was an XG of 0.43. That's a chance that should never be happening if Luke Thomas is an actual footballer. The penalty as well, 0.8 of their XG. That's, you know, 9/10 of their XG on those 2 chances. That shouldn't have happened if Luke Thomas was an actual footballer who knew how to defend. Because I don't think in general we give a lot away, and that's a very good foundation. The issue is we then give away bozo moments that leads to goals. And when we then ourselves struggle to create chances, that's not okay. Because this game, without bozo moments, would not have been a Leicester win still. It would have been a draw. If we didn't have a bozo moments, it would just have been a boring 0-0 draw. Millwall wouldn't have created much. We wouldn't have created much either. But because they're able to punish our bozo moments, which, you know, as they should be, or you could say maybe not because they didn't convert the penalty. Well done, Jakub. But that low XG is just worrying me. And I feel like I like so much of what Marty's doing. I think he's setting up us solidly defensively. I like that it's a bit more chaotic if we can thrive in it. But the way the game sometimes turns chaotic, we just don't create much from the chaos, which is a bit disappointing. Yeah, and like that 0.6 XG, I feel like there are too many games where we should have just created more. We should create more. We have the players to create more. We have the quality to create more. And that's actually where I think the one place where I want to say Marty's getting stuff wrong tactically is how we create those chances, because we get the ball to the final third, but that final pass always seems to be missing, and there are some clear tendencies that I think are tactical decisions that don't help, for example, our quality wingers to create more chances.
Yeah, some great comments incoming today. Dalster, or that's Darren, I think, well, have fun, but this is going to be a proper Luke Thomas hate watch tonight. Don't you worry. We'll take a look at this here. So I think there's a lot of things, but yeah, Carroll, congratulations. I agree with Carroll. Look at our unwillingness to tackle also. Boom. So I agree with everything you said there, Duck, 100%. But I would say when you're in a championship, the thing I know about championship football is it is a battle. Normally the teams are quite evenly matched. It means the teams are basically having a physical and mental battle, and it really comes down to like what team wants it more. And sometimes you can say, sure, but if we have a lot more possession, then the other team has to make a lot more tackles. So that's maybe not a fair stat to look at. But you can see in this game, the possession is pretty even. We did have a bit more of it. But you can see that Millwall have made twice as many tackles as we have, right? And then, okay, so that's in this particular game. Now let's look at the whole game. 2-1 it is again. And it's a similar story. 27 tackles they've made to our 19. Now here, to be fair, we've had a lot more possession and they sat off us quite a lot in that second half. But, you know, I know that Imran, if he's watching, you know, in our BTG group chat, he is Mr. Dinosaur, get it forward, physical ability. But the thing is he does have a point, right? And that is going to be a big issue where if we're getting bullied, right? And there's one player in our team very specifically that gets bullied a lot, which we're going to come to in a moment. And if you aren't able to compete, you are going to be in trouble. So I think that for me is actually the biggest worry. And I would argue that that is actually why maybe some of those other stats that you've mentioned are also a bit of a problem. But we'll come through that and talk about that in a moment. I just wanted to show you this as well. This is the attack momentum from both games. Now, actually, I would say the whole game, I think you're bang on, Duck. You said it was like bozo moments. And if you'd taken the bozo moments out of it, I actually think we'd have won the game. especially that second half, Harry Winks almost scored right at the end there, but we were all over them. They definitely did sit back, I think, once Aaron Ramsey had scored his goal.
Yeah. In the Hull game, I agree. I think it was more in the Millwall game I was referring to for the stats there.
Yeah, exactly. But here you can see the Millwall game where, we had that great start, but then it was kind of all Millwall. The goal was against the run of play, but it was a bozo one to concede. Second half, though, you can sort of still see that, we had some patches, but we didn't really create enough. I didn't really think, that we deserved to get anything out of them. Yes, fair comment. Millwall don't want the ball. You play into the hands when you pass around the back and sideways. They had all the possession where Resurrectum at the Den and lost. They didn't know what to do. Wow, it's interesting you should say that. Exactly. Sometimes you've got to embrace the haram ball. Now, here we are, we'll line up against Millwall. I'm not going to show the whole one, just the Millwall one. And if you cast your mind back to that watch along, Duck, we had a look at this team lineup, and so here's the thing, right? The Okoli came in for FaZe. I think that's fair enough. FaZe has been at fault at goals, but you know what I'm going to say already because you were there on the watch along. But you look at this lineup, and what were your thoughts?
Every single fan who last year said Luke Thomas is better than VK, you better be eating your words, man. I've taken so much shit in that debate for about a year now. And boy, if I see anyone wanting him to start over either VK or I think the one we all really want to see given a chance, Bede Aluko.
Yeah.
Next week, I think Marty will have flipped the fan base for who wants him in because I very much like Marty. I like a lot of what he does. I like a lot of what he says. I like his general philosophy of football. But such a mistake of playing Luke Thomas is simply almost unforgivable if he doesn't realize it sooner rather than later because this game, he cost us at least a point. I don't think we would win this game unless someone came up with a moment of brilliance, but we could have easily had a 0-0 draw, which we still wouldn't have been happy about, but it would have been a point if Luke Thomas was not playing. I don't believe Bede Aluko or VK would have given away a penalty and would have given away such a free goal. Yeah. Simple as.
Or you can go to a back three, which we'll come to at the end there.
That's
but,
even another option. You have many ways to try and not play Luke Thomas. It's very simple.
Yeah, I think this is a fair point about Aluko coming in and he won't change anything. We'll talk about that at the end when we look at the tactical sort of thing. But yeah, I said this when we did the watch along, which is that I was extremely scared he would pick Luke Thomas. I remember I think it was 2017, we played Millwall in the FA Cup. No, I think it was 2019. And where Ben Chilwell was a young Ben Chilwell was playing in that team at left back. And they bullied the shit out of him on throw-ins. They really got to him. He made mistake after mistake, and they ended up turning us over on that day. And I just thought they're going to do exactly the same thing to Luke Thomas. They're going to bully him. He's prone to making a mistake, and that could cost us the game. And that's exactly what did happen. Now, the counterpoint to that is you could still say that with this midfield three, you do feel optimistic. That is, they did combine quite well.
Worth mentioning that Ramsey lost his hamstring for half the game, right? Like it wasn't that same midfield trio, and you can definitely feel the quality that was lost when he had to walk off the pitch, sadly.
Yeah.
And, hopefully it's not that bad, but just a slight counterpoint, because I think it would have been easier to chase the game if Aaron Ramsey was there for the 45 minutes we were actually chasing the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get on to it. So first, I'm going to talk about the chance creation and what Marty is trying to do, because actually in both games, but very specifically the Millwall game, we did see glimpses where it looked very good, right? But also explain why it's kind of a high-risk strategy. And I'll be interested to see what Duckball and Football Manager does, if he goes for this or he goes for something a bit different. So, yeah, this thing about Chilwell being too scared to take a throw in at Millwall, that's exactly the point I was making. So, here we go with Leicester early in the game against Millwall. And this is how we try and build our attacks and what Marty's trying to do. This example works well. So Jakob's on the ball, Stolarczyk. And typically when we build out, you can see that Ivanovic, that's his press trigger. So he's going to go and press Jakob. And that means that he's going to make the bounce pass, as we call it, to Winks. He's going to play it to Winks. And Winks' first time, he normally will either play it to one of these centre-backs, or if there's three, there could be a third on there. So in this case, Vestergaard's the free man because he's moved off... Ivanovic has moved off Vestergaard to press Stolarczyk. So he plays into Winks, and Winks plays that ball. He is getting pressed, but you can trust Winks in this position in the Championship, definitely. And he'll make that ball to Yannick. So Yannick's got the ball. And you can see that what Marty's been doing recently is you can see both Luke Thomas and Ricardo, they're quite high up the pitch. This is quite similar to how Spain in the Euros were building. So you've got this is to stretch the pitch, make spaces all over the place. So Yannick's got the ball. He's going to play this into Luke Thomas. Luke Thomas has got the ball. He's going to receive it. And you can see as soon as he receives it, that's the trigger as well for some of our midfielders, especially Ramsey, who's very impressive, unfortunate to get injured, and he's already off on his bike. So he's got the ball here. And now Luke Thomas is going to have some examples of what to do. But here, we're going to talk about what Marty, I think, has done way more than the previous couple of managers that we've had at Leicester. And he really likes these line-breaking passes. And you can see specifically an example. What that is you can see with the sort of defensive lines of the opposition is you're trying to bypass them to find the player who's going to be in space, in the half spaces, they call them, and have a lot of attacking opportunity to go with. So Luke Thomas is on the ball here, and he's got a few options here, right? In previous seasons, under previous managers, he might have been making the inside pass into Ramsey, who maybe instead of facing goal, would be facing his own goal and might be looking to play the pass into Winks or maybe play the pass across to Jordan James. Or you could go for a bit more of an adventurous pass and try and make this straight, because he has got a passing channel here. The ref isn't a Millwall player. He could make the pass into Jordan James here as well. But what Marty wants, and I have to say, this I think is the reason why he likes Luke Thomas, is Luke Thomas is quite good at progressive passing, although we will show a bozo moment of his.
He can do that even better than him, I guarantee you.
Yeah. Well, but to be fair, that's why I think he's in the team, right? Because I think he does play this. I watch a lot of games. He's not bad at doing this. So he plays a progressive pass and he's aiming for this false 9 position. So here now, as we kind of see, is where Jordan Ayew is going to come back. And typically what he would do is he himself would play the bounce pass into Aaron Ramsey, who would then probably play it out to one of the wings. But Jordan Ayew, to be fair, he's obviously much maligned, often for good reason, but he does something quite clever in this move, where he senses that the man is coming to him. So he does nothing and he dummies it. And by dummying it, I don't know if this is something they worked on the training ground or not, but it means that now Aaron Ramsey can run into space and he's almost completely free. This defender's kind of slow. So now you've got this great opportunity where we've got potential for 4 men to break by bypassing the lines. And Ramsey does so well, so athletic. Look at the distance. You'll see in a couple of examples that it's kind of no surprise he pulled his hammy, actually, given how much distance he was covering. Charges all the way through, gets the ball, plays it into his teammate Jordan James, and you've got Fatawu joining attack. And this is really, really promising. This is quite reminiscent of Nottingham Forest under Nuno, when they would often break and you'd have Chris Wood, Anthony Elanga and Hudson-Odoi. So it's almost like the championship version of that, although you've got midfielders. Jordan James is on the ball. He gets blocked out for the shot, but because Fatawu is joining the attack, the ball comes into Fatawu. Fatawu gets to a shooting angle and Ramsey tries to get out of his way. He does. And, it's a blocked opportunity. Fair play to Millwall defender here. He really throws himself at it. But I think this is like only 2 or 3 minutes into the game.
Yeah, this
was very, very good to see. Yeah, fair play from Peter there as well.
And I'm gonna say, I think that's a way I like to utilize the 9. I very much I like the idea of a false 9. I don't need my striker to be the only one able to score goals. I like my number 10 to be, also a playmaker, but also a bit of that, if we're talking football manager terms, right? A shadow striker, a second one who can make that run in behind or receive that ball into space and into the channel. And I think Aaron Ramsey has those qualities, at least for me in FM. He scored 20 goals in my season with him and 10 assists. And I really, really like this move. And again, it just backs up. I like so much of what Marty is doing, but the fact that this doesn't turn into a quality chance is very disappointing, because we have 3 of our best quality players, like, Jordan James, Aaron Ramsey, and Abdul Fatawu making their run, being at the end of this move. And
I think that's hard not to say that's a quality chance. I think
it is a quality chance, but it doesn't get turned into, we're not getting to test the keeper. And I think, it's the small micro decisions or individual decisions at the end of the day that lead to this not being a shot on goal or one at the very least close.
Fair enough. But I think sort of 2.5 minutes into the game, I think that was a good start. But
it definitely was. I very much agree. It's not to sit and flame it. It's just I would have loved to see this just be, again, we're doing all the right things to get into the box, but I don't think we make the right decision when we've done the build-up move, because the build-up move is lovely. I love that move. I love it. I really, really do. So let's leave it at that.
Jordan Ayew's best touch was not touching the ball at all. There you go.
That's a good comment.
Yeah, I agree with you, Peter. I think the false 9 works better with a 6 and a 2 high 8s rather than what Marty's going for. But to be fair, you can see that the system is created. But I'm going to come to what I think the real problem is in a moment. But anyway, talking of Aaron Ramsey, absolutely superb in the game. So here's another example of a similar style move. Now, this is good because actually you can see that initially Millwall are in possession here. So they're going to be looking for the ball into Ivanovic, who kept an eye on because we were linked to him. I was a bit disappointed with him, I'll be honest with you. Ball comes to him. And Winks who you've got to say in that first 10 minutes, he was like a man possessed. Like I've never seen him win so many challenges and blocks in my life. Gets in, wins the ball off Ivanovic, plays it in again to public enemy number 1, also known as Luke Thomas. Luke Thomas gets the ball, and again, good of those progressive passes. He's got various options. You can see he's scanning up, and he decides he actually gives him the eyes and plays now inside to Ramsey. So Ramsey's going to turn on the ball, spin. Now, here Luke Thomas could have played more of a line breaking pass. And I think because the first time he did pick up Ayew here, now he's gone for the variation with Ramsey here in the 10. Ramsey's going to spin, and we've got in the attack here, and you can see now we're going to attack as well. So Ramsey here, it's got the ball. He's going to be looking for Fatawu, who you can't see, but is out on the wing. You've got Jordan James, you've got Jeremy Mongo on the other side, and you've got the false 9 that's created that space for the others there. And just look at where Aaron Ramsey is here, because now in the next still, again, the amount of distance he was covering in this game was really, really impressive. It's so unfortunate he's injured. So he's going to make this run in. Now you've got Abdul Fatawu here. And the thing that we've been complaining in the last couple of analyses is, 1, the box crashes, and 2, the fact that the wingers were left isolated. But you can see that in this example, through playing the ball very quickly with these vertical transitions, that we actually managed to get Abdul 1-on-1 against the fullback multiple times in that first 10 to 15 minutes. And even better here is that Ramsey, and look at the distance again that he's covered to make up here. He's now going to make that Ndidi run. That's what we always call it here, into the space. This is what we've been asking for. So now Abdul can either cut in and go for a shot himself, or play the ball to Jordan Ayew, or he can play it into the channel here for the channel midfielder, which is, I'm sure, how Duck is abusing the FM26 system. Plays it in there.
I love my channel. I love running into that space, and it's something I think I want to see more.
Gets in there.
Yeah, like this exact thing is also how I feel like we should be dealing more with our wingers being 2-on-1, because the thing is, if you make this channeling run, one of them either has to go deal with it, or you get the free pass instead. And if they choose to follow the run, you've then got the chance to reassess the situation and say, I can now take on my man. And while we do it here, I don't feel like we do it enough, if that makes sense, because this move, love it. It's what I do on FM. It's duck ball philosophy, right? Something I really love from Enzo as well is you call it the Ndidi move, right? He was clinical doing those moves and always getting some neat crosses on the end of it that someone like Dewsbury Hall could get on the end of.
Yeah. Conscious, can I say, you're a man that's thinking in the hive mind here. Monga's showing his inexperience, because there he is. I circled him exactly. He should be here. If he was there, well, to be fair, the Millwall defender does deal with it, but it's a good thing. A lot of you are complaining about Ayew there, but you've got to remember that Ayew is the false 9. That's the idea, is he's going to drop in to let the players go past him, right? Again, you can look at Forest with Chris Wood, similar idea, because he's a bit of a slow player. I get what you guys are saying, though. If he was really had the energy, he could get into the middle himself. So I do understand what you're saying, and that's definitely an optimization we could make, but he is doing what he's been told there, and it is a good move. And look, he's put it into the danger zone. It's a good cross. Maybe if JJ really attacked it, he could have got onto it. He lets it go past him, I think, because he thinks that you're going to have the number 11 there, or number 28 in Jerry Monga's case. It's missed. But look, yes, easy. Millwall defender deals it. But again, you can see that quick vertical passing means that the opposition defense doesn't have time to set, which means that you can make these chances. It does make it chaotic, as you would say. Buzz, you're right here. I agree with you there. That's the point. If you have that one that can do both, but you can sort of see the idea of what we're trying here with this vertical passing. And an example of something similar where it does actually pay off, and the Ayew haters might have to eat a little bit here. So this was against Hull. You got Wout Faes. This is a bit of a slower build-up. It's still a similar idea. Goes into Yannick Vestergaard, and again, what is he famous for? His quality passing, his line-breaking passing.
That is the quality of.
Look at that!
Vestergaard.
I love that angle. That's really smooth technique, and you can see that he's going to play it through one line, through 2 lines, and he's going to hit Ayew. Ayew gets the ball, and Ramsey, look, he's in the half space now, but he's in the 10 position. He comes alive. You can see it immediately. Something that they've worked on in training for sure. Ayew's going to holds it up for enough time to give it to Aaron Ramsey. And this is a quality goal. First time.
He's quality Ramsey, man.
Yeah,
sad he got injured again.
You can see, the technical quality he's got. He's too good for the championship. Obviously, it's just the injuries that we got him, because that is an absolutely superb finish. Look at that, where he puts it.
What a player.
To get us back into the game for 2-1. So look, that is again another good example of vertical passing, and this time round, not playing as the false 9, but as a target man, holding up the ball, doing his job, not just winning the foul and playing it off to someone. So that was encouraging to see. But here we're going to come to the potential downside, right? And you probably already know what's going to happen when I get you this screenshot. So here we have Hull on the attack. Actually, it's a bit of a transition moment. So they're making counter-attack themselves. And their player here is going to go for the ball out wide to find their winger. And you can see that Luke Thomas is scanned. And he can see that, okay, this guy, there's coverage with Faison Vestergaard. I've got the opportunity to step in here and win the ball. And he does win the ball. But here's the thing, right? So after he wins this ball, he's got two options here. He could go for the conservative pass, which is to play it into Buba Samare. Now, that would give Hull more time to regroup, get back into their own defensive lock and shape, right? But it is a safer option. Or you can go for the fast vertical pass, play it through the lines, find someone and transition into a counter transition, which is what he goes for. But the problem is when you go for that kind of style, and again, you mentioned chaos there at the top of the show, Doug, is that if you do decide to play that ball, as he does here, you know, some people when you watch them were saying Ayew wasn't in the right place. I disagree with that. I think it's I think it's one of those balls that, like, if you were to play it in a slightly different phase of play, even if the ball doesn't come off, it's not the worst thing in the world. But the problem is because he stepped up, which was good, but now lost the ball. He's actually made a good moment into a bad moment because now he's out of position.
I'll say as well, I think that ball, I would play it if we are 2-1 down, 2-0 down, 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go and we're chasing the goal. I don't care if you flip it. I don't care if we concede on the back of it because we're doing the thing we can try and do to, give us the highest percentage chance of getting back into the game, even if it's a 30% chance the ball will only come through. But we're what, 15 minutes in, 20 minutes in? It's a brilliant trigger press. It's a great capture of the ball.
Yeah.
Just take the extra pass.
0-0.
There is no shame in it when it's 0-0 and the game's wide open because you know the risk you're doing with it. It's the perfect ball to play if we are behind, if we're chasing a game. But come on, man. At that moment, just why would you risk it? Why would you risk it? That's my question, but I digress.
Well, look, to be fair, the thing is, and I remember this happening from the first time, is that if he would have pulled it off, it would have looked brilliant, right? Because we could have scored off it. Then he'd look like a genius. But I agree with you guys. Just what he's saying, like what he's saying, it was 0-0 at this point, so that's why I agree with Duck. Horrendous positioning, absolutely. We're going to come on to that in a moment. And Buzz, I agree with you, mate. Absolutely. I think that inverting both the fullbacks is absolute suicide. But I think if you're going to invert a fullback, maybe Ricardo you can do. Although this season, I think he's been brutally exposed at times. But I think Luke Thomas, he's not good enough to do it, man. And yeah, you can say it's a first poor touch, multiple things. But like I say, if he'd have won that ball and just played it into Buba, it's actually a very good move. Or to be fair, if he got the ball and played it into Jordan Ayew, who would turn, it would also look great. But yeah, the 3 Ps, there ain't no positioning or they need to do some serious work on it. So we lose the ball. That means he's now out of position. Ball goes over the top. So now he's out of the game. I mean, still you look at this phase, it's not awful. We've got 3 players back. So it's not like we're completely wide open, but it's not looking good because you can see a winger here on the other side. Play develops. And it is a bit lucky here because Hull put the cross in and they're clearly aiming actually for this guy who actually falls over. And it ends up coming to Liam Miller here, number 7. And then, but look, he's got all the time in the world. And if this is the Premier League, you're going to concede. And this time round, the Championship, they've all got good wingers.
Yeah.
And that's a great
You don't
finish.
always concede this chance, but in the Championship, that's what, a 40% chance you do, right? Like, even then, that's a chance when he has so much time that if he has quality in his shooting, he will have time to find it there. And yeah. I mean, it's an annoying goal to concede. And is that, 3 out of 3 goals?
Well,
I remember now.
The thing is,
Luke Thomas culpable.
I agree with Buzz here, is that for me, it's the risk to reward ratio. Bingo. I think we've all got the hive mind here. That's the thing. It's like, okay, sure. In this moment where Thomas wins the ball back, he can go for the risky pass. But it's like, even if he gets that risky pass away there to Ayew, it's not like he's one-on-one. It's not like he's a one pass to make a shooting opportunity. There's a high risk of it coming off. Whereas, especially with the players we've got, is that if you make a mistake, you're left brutally exposed. So I do agree with that. And Conscious, I agree with you again. He goes, some of our players aren't technically good enough to play at a Barcelona-style tempo, even in the Championship. And frankly, at times, Barca aren't good enough to do it. And look, I'll take the L on this because I did say at the start of the season I thought it would work. And we're just seeing with our own eyes that it's not working. And I think that is the big thing, that if we're going to go for those that's the reason you said it earlier, Duck, that Enzo would go for a slower, more methodical approach, right? And it maybe been more boring to see it at times, but it worked, right? Whereas this way, it's not working. It just is too much of a risk. And when the risk doesn't pay off, you concede, and we're not getting enough rewards for taking those risks. So I said that this would turn into a Luke Thomas hate watch.
Yeah, just keep that going in the background while we look at the Bozo. But
yeah, so there you go. That's my more accurate representation, or you can say a clown watch. So I've lost track, Duck, of how many times I've brought this picture up. I think I've already brought it up 10 times this season alone, right? Which is a bit frustrating. And yeah, we just know that was a QPR, same thing. That's the area you want to target. So teams have played against Marty before. They know this, right? So, I mean, this is almost like player for player, position for position. It's unbelievable just how on the money this is. So here we go. Millwall have got the ball. They get the ball in the left back position. You can see, look, that's where the man is standing there free in case they got a quick opportunity. Comes back to Casper De Norre, gets the ball. And now here's another crazy thing though. So he gets the ball, and for whatever reason, at this point in time, Thomas actually decides to step up, that being his trigger. Forward. Yeah, I'm not sure why he does that. That might be an instruction. If it is, he's got to go into his Football Manager, Marty, and turn that option off as fast as possible, because it just makes a bad situation even worse. So they know, look, I've literally shown you the picture, right? That's what you're going to go for. You're going to go for that diagonal over the top. You can see, look, he's already now not goal side. That's already a big, big problem. Yeah, why is he there? And the back three positioning, not great, absolutely. But thanks for the kind words, by the way, about the analysis. It's much appreciated. So yeah, De Norre plays the ball over the top. And I don't know about you, Duck, but as soon as I saw this, I was like, no, I don't want to be right. But I'm going to be right. It comes to Femi Aziz and now Luke Thomas. And here's a problem as well. Like, I'm always tempted to say here that he should haul him down, but you'd get redded because he's the last man there and Yannick's not there. So that's maybe
honestly, I think our chance of winning would have been higher with 10 men if it was Luke Thomas who had to go out. I'm not even joking.
Brutal.
Like, just take the fucking red card, mate. And that would have saved us with 3 more games of Thomas. Like we would have won 9 points if he took the red card there. I'm not even joking.
Out-muscled, out-bullied. It is a good finish, good goal.
Yeah,
but that was
fair play. It is a good finish. And it's a good ball as well. But the fact that Arafina does nothing, like he's just a fucking fly in the wall.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, and that's why we've got to fix it. This is a good question. What would the compromise be? We'll talk about that at the end. That is a very good question, though. Yeah,
I think
such an easy
we can maybe
out
pull
ball.
up the JLA tactics board. And I've pulled it up here while you've been talking, just trying to set up like, well, we could maybe go through, a few of the moves. Maybe you could add some as well. I can have screen share ready if you want. I know this is a bit on the fly, but if we have like maybe 10 minutes.
Let's do that at the end. If you want to bring it up
at the end, like maybe.
Yeah, no, we love it. I'm waiting for the day that you're going to show me live replays in Football Manager of what we should do to fix it. That's the expectation.
Yeah, I'll be looking to create that maybe.
Yeah. So there you go. He's going to have some more bozo moments. So that wasn't bad enough for 1-0. And here was another moment in the game. Now this was a bit different, but also made me even more frustrated. So I think in the last analysis show that we did, or I might have done this on the watch along, I forget. But I was saying how Jakob, one thing he wasn't doing is we were losing control of the game because he kept kicking the ball long. And he had multiple opportunities to play the ball out to Luke Thomas so he could settle and build some more possession. So he gets the ball here. And I remember saying, pass it, Jakob. Don't just kick it long. And he actually did pass it. So he spots Luke Thomas there and he plays the ball to him. But as it turns out, Duck, playing the ball to Luke Thomas was, of course, the actual error. So he plays it into Luke Thomas. And the crazy thing is, he actually chests it down beautifully. It's a good touch. He brings it down and he's got a man here in Jeremy Monga that he's got an easy out ball. So he's done everything right. We've actually won the ball back off Millwall. We've recycled it. We've put it around the other side and now we can build down the other wing. Brilliant. Nothing wrong with it. Actually perfect. Right. But for whatever reason, he starts getting pressed by Aziz and he decides to try a Cruyff turn. Right.
Like, what are you doing, mate? You've got your passing option right there.
Exactly.
Pass the fucking ball.
This is why it's so criminal, because in this case, right, sometimes you could say, if, like, for example, look, he can't pass it back to Yannick because that passing lane has been double blocked. That's fair enough. He could go for the pass into Winks, but again, he's blocked here, and it is risky to do that. But Jeremy Monga is totally free. So there's no reason why he should not be playing that pass, right? Instead, he's trying to do the thing that pisses us all the players off, and the fans especially. He's trying to play it back to the keeper anyway, right? But the Cruyff turn is such a risk here because if you lose the ball, there's no one there to cover you, right? That's the problem. If Jeremy Monga was closer, it would still be a bad decision, but you can sort of somewhat understand it. So he does this. Femi Aziz, fair play to him. Clearly man of the match in this one. I mean, just look at that. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Why is he playing?
Now he's totally out of position. So now Winks is spotting the danger and he's trying to make up for it. What we see next is also, I mean, I rate Harry Winks.
It's a bad tackle. I will say, compared to what we normally see from Winks, credit to him this game for tracking back and trying to make up for Thomas's mistake. But this tackle is bad. But just go back before when he makes the mistake. Look at how much ground he's actually making up. He gets back before Thomas. Go back even before this. The screenshot before. Look at how much space he's making up before Thomas. Like, this is Harry Winks. We called him lazy last season for tracking back. And he makes it there before, obviously. Shocking tackle. But
he makes that challenge out of frustration. But I even said it at the time.
I mean, of course, he's working with the fucking Bozo at left back, man.
It's Bozo, but it's because he's covering for Bozo. And I think that's why the penalty even
Bozo for Bozo moment, man. We can't do any different at Leicester at this point.
Yeah. So this one, I put a vertical passing, but to be honest with you, no, it's just Bozo. It's just being a Bozo there. So Luke Thomas, he got hauled off then because of that, right? So there you go. You can see that's basically in a nutshell, right? Buzz, totally agree with him. It's the style he's trying to play. When it works, it can work well. And I think, to be fair, the team that's currently second in the Premier League right now is Bournemouth, and they are excellent at doing this. If you watch how they play, they are one of the best teams I've ever seen at winning 50-50s. I reckon it's 60-40 or maybe even better across multiple seasons. I don't know how they do that. Iraola's got them cracked. And when they win the ball, they do go for those fast vertical transitions and they score them. But they've got some very good players and they've recruited to make their team good in that sort of situation. Semenyo, of course, being one of the star boys at that, right? But the issue is that, you know, by doing that the whole time as well, if you haven't got the team that's good at the other side of it, like the dirty side, and winning those 50-50s, you're too much risk without enough reward. And it means the game is chaotic and that chaos isn't favouring us. We don't really have that sort of system. And it's interesting because obviously at the start of the season, there was a lot of people that wanted Danny Rowe. Danny Rowe plays this sort of style as well, by the way, a bit more chaotic. Look, I'm not going to judge him. Let's see how he does at Rangers, but it's something similar. So, okay, that's the thing. And we've been saying that the chance creation just isn't there at all. So what I have seen Marty already try and do, and Conche is going to absolutely rinse me because he does not want to see me having Abdul Fattah as a left wing back. I'm not necessarily thinking he's me a left wing back, but somewhat similar. But I think that actually we just have to wake up and smell the bacon. That is not working. We can't play this Barcelona Diet Coke version in the Championship with our players. It's not going to work. Forget about it. If we do that, Marty's going to get sacked. He's going to sack himself, or he'll have to pay himself to leave. I don't know. Right?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. I think we've got to be a bit more pragmatic, realistic, right? And I'm not saying long ball. I'm not saying go forward, right? I'm saying more of a direct attacking style. And we've even seen examples in games when we actually create stuff. So in this game as well, now Luke, if he's probably listening at this tomorrow in Australia time, is probably texting me right now saying, what the F are you talking about? This system was even worse when he tried it in this game. But what he did towards the latter stages against Millwall is he changed to a 3-4-1-2. Mavididi came on as a 10, not making it up, right? Silko Thomas had come on at this point. He's playing right wing. Fattah at left wing. That means
and that's not Luke Thomas, that's Silko Thomas. It's not the Bozo. Just be aware, be aware. We don't want to play him at right wing back. Holy shit. I'd rather.
So 3 centre backs, right? 1 box-to-box midfielder, 1-10, and a sort of still creative player in wings. 2 wingers, 2 target men that can one fast, one more of the sort of target man to hit. And look, we were very bad in this game. But what I was going to say is the direct wing play is actually Jordan James in this case that gets the ball. But Okoli gets the ball, plays it into JJ, who just runs down the field, keeps running down the field, puts in a cross. It is direct, like I say, it's like Man United under Ferguson. But you can actually see that Daka does get to it, and he does get his header on target. Now, it's a very weak, it's quite tame. But my point is that in our squad, we have the players that have the quality to do that. We've got fast wingers. They do have good delivery. We can get up and down. If you play this sort of style, Duck, the issue is right, you're no longer are you going to have a game where you've got 65%, 70% possession, right? You're giving that up because you're making it a bit more 50-50. But the thing is that if you play this style and you've got the better players,
you'll normally win.
You'll tend to win, right? That is how it works, right? And I said this to you. That was actually my one criticism of Enzo, is that I felt, especially in those games against Plymouth and Millwall, you might remember them, where we were on top of the game, we were dominating possession, but we weren't really creating much. And especially when you get to like minute 60, it's like at that point in time, right now, especially that they're tired, just utilize the fact that you've got better players, right? You don't have to have this stupid, sexy Italian football the whole time, right? You can just... it doesn't matter. Just the bounce off someone's chest and tuck it in. It just doesn't really matter, right? I'll answer some of these questions in a moment, by the way, guys. So there you go. That was straight at them. And then here's another example. This was against in the whole game. Harry Winks is on the ball here. He's going to play out to FaZe. FaZe now is going to play this out to Fatawu, who's actually on the right-hand side. There you got Booba here. You can see the triangle in the rotation. Fatawu is going to end up playing into Booba. Here he is here, plays it out on the wing. So Booba's taking the position here. And now he's going to go for the cross. And now you've got Fatawu here, but you've also got Ramsey, who's very good at attacking the ball as a box crusher. And you also got Jeremy Wonga there. And you can see he's aiming here, but because he's going to be arriving late, a bit Frank Lampard-esque, Ramsey gets the ball. And you know what? If he heads this on target, he probably scores, right? It ends up going wide. But again, that just shows you that, that's Bouba Samari of all players putting in the cross. So, I'll come to the comments, but, that's what I think, Duck, because I think that playing a bit more Brexit, playing a bit more Championship is effective, right? We can go this way with the team that we've currently got because we're in a bit of a battle here. There you go. What do you think about that? And I'm going to bring the guys' comments up now as well.
I still believe the current style of play can work and can get tweaks, but I like the idea of being able to adapt. I think we see that in the games as well. When it doesn't work, we adapt. Sometimes maybe we do it a bit too late, but I think it's a good ace to have up our sleeve if the current form continues.
Yeah.
I still believe we're not missing much to go on a roll and win a lot of games. I don't think we give many chances away outside of big bozo moments that just cost us goals constantly. And obviously that's a bit due to the system. But at the same time, I think that's more the selection currently, that the selection headache.
How much are we creating, Doc? That's the thing, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And don't lie.
But that's where we should be changing the things. Because for me, I think 9 out of 10 parts of the system we're playing right now, I like. I just don't like how we consistently create chances, because we don't. That's the issue, right? I think we're making the wrong runs. Maybe we're not committing enough to it. Maybe we're not making enough runs into the space. I think the space in particular, I don't see utilized enough. I don't see the right players and the right positioning when we then get the crossing. I don't see enough quality in our crossing because we do a lot of crosses. I think Fatawu, some games have had 6-7 crosses. How many is connected? Maybe 1. So the crossing quality needs to improve. The positioning in the box needs to improve. And the finishing needs to improve.
1 or 2 up top, because I will say this. I think with the strikers that we've got currently, it's not a surprise that whenever we have 2 strikers on the pitch, they all look better. Because we even saw that last year when Jamie Vardy was playing with Jordan Ayew, they actually combined quite well. Yeah. So that's another thing to think about, that maybe it's better there. Some fair comments here about, it still exposes you if you lose the ball in a wing-back position. But, you've still got 2 CDMs there. You've got 3 at the back there as well. And you've got more physical. I mean, really, the biggest advantage of playing a 3-4-1-2 is you don't have to have Luke Thomas or Victor Christensen in the team, which is something to be saying there. Question for you, Duck, as well. I'll answer myself. Do you think our strikers are being utilised enough, or is there more emphasis on the wingers and midfield?
I don't think we should be playing a formation that is all about getting the ball to the strikers so they can score goals, because I don't trust their quality. I don't trust their finishing. I don't trust they can consistently deliver despite being given the chance. I think we underutilize our strikers and they don't get in the right positions in the box. But I do not think that we should be trying to focus on we want the ball to our striker in the box because they are the best finishers. I don't think it's a definitive answer. I think we have other quality players who can finish just as well, if not better, and more consistently than, let's say, Patson Daka or Jordan Ayew. But I think we could do
Daka
better
did
with
score
our
30 goals in Austria when he played in the front two.
But I mean, I think he's had some quality chances here where he's, fumbled it in Leicester. He hasn't scored in 34 games. He hasn't scored for about a year since Ruben Nistelrooy took over in late November, when we played with West Ham. So
a goal would be good though, right, Doug?
I would love a goal. I just don't think the goal needs to be from the striker, if that makes sense. That's not how I view it.
We've had one goal from a striker in 12 games, right? So
I think
anyway, we'll argue about that in a moment. 4-4 FN2. But yeah, look, I agree with this, right? I think it's Clibo. Watching our strikers this season makes me realise how much I miss Vardy. Even 40-year-old Vardy would be put into turn. And Vardy has scored for Cremonese already.
Yeah, he would put away chances. He would find himself in the right place in the box. He had that. In Denmark, we call that goal nose, right? The målnæse, where you're like, you just got that gut feeling, maybe is probably what you say, right? Where you want to stand, where the ball will bounce if a rebound happens when the winger takes a chance. So, just that ability to find himself in the right places. That might not always be logic, but just be, your goal nose. You've always got that sense for where the goal will be coming from, where the bounce will be going from, where you need to put it. And we don't have a striker with that, goal sense. I don't know what the direct translation.
Well, yeah, I mean, Vardy just had it. He
had it.
Yeah, I mean, he was good enough. Like I said, I mean, I'm convinced if Alex Ferguson was still around, he would have signed a player like Jamie Vardy. He wouldn't care about the age. He knows a good player. So what do we think? Here you go. The season is falling apart quickly, Duck. It's major warning signs right now. Not creating enough chances, and now we're starting to give away too many at the other end. I do agree with you, Duck. The chances we give away are more through Bozo rather than it being like a fundamental flaw in the system. So I don't think it's as bad, for example, as the James Justin episode with Steve Cooper, but it is pretty bad. And Luke Thomas, you need to have a much better player than that, which we don't have in the squad. So it's gonna cause problems.
He's kind of taking the Danny Ward mantle of every time he's on the pitch, he's the reason we lose.
Well, but it is though, right? There you go. And look, what I'm saying is we need to scrap playing an inverted left back. We just don't have the player to do it, in my opinion. Now, the bigger point I want to make here as well, Doug, right, is that you could say that is it exclusive to Leicester? But it's interesting that Ipswich, Southampton and Leicester are all struggling this season. And if you look in the Premier League as well, there are a number of teams, one of which is friggin' Liverpool, by the way, right, who are struggling by trying to play the intricate style. Even Enzo, our beloved Enzo, is down to 8th with Chelsea right now, whereas you've got friggin' Bournemouth and Sunderland near the top of the table, right? So I think what has happened is that after getting absolutely dominated for by not just ourselves and Ipswich, but also Burnley under Vincent Kompany, is that teams have started to realise that they need to change their style. And what you're seeing is that people are going way more man for man. They're prepared to pump the ball long into the channels because they know that teams are playing the high line. And yeah, it's actually very similar to Atalanta under Gasperini, if you remember that, right? Fair enough that Arsenal are top, but Arsenal don't play an intricate style anymore. I was just talking to Duck off air, but I mean, I'm trying to embrace Arteta Harambe in my own FM save. It's like, I don't know if you saw them play against Crystal Palace, but don't get me wrong, they were super efficient, but they're more like the George Graham 1-0 to the Arsenal team than they are the free-flowing Arsene Wenger sexy football sort of style. So I would advise going for more traditional wing play and accepting more of a 50-50 game state and relying upon superior technical quality to make the difference. That's me with my limited badges and experience, but I would say that, if you ain't got the players to play, there's a reason why that Barcelona dream team was the dream team, right? They had players like Laudrup, like Stoichkov, like Romario. Jordan Ayew, respectfully, is not in the same wavelength as those three. You got your tactics board out, so let me bring that up before I show you the rest of the things. So go on.
And I think, I want to have this as a bit of a, conversation, right? About what do we do, right? Because I think what I would like to see more is, let's say we have Fatawu here, we have the ball, Yannick Vestergaard, boom. Oh, Ben Nelson's in the team all of a sudden. This is not my preferred 11. He just came in when I spawned it. But what I want to have, right? You're sitting kind of wide here as the right-sided centre back. You've got Pereira and Verding. And what I would like to create overloads because Langstaff can't, there are many passing lanes. If you go to Fatawu, they will, as he takes a few meters, instantly try and close him down 2-man, which is, what they do. And the question then is, what I don't think we do correctly is often how we free it up, because very often they just see the simple pass backwards to recycle the ball.
Yeah.
And then, we try and look for it in the other direction. But what I would like way more is, the Ndidi run, right? This run into space that would either force the defender to follow James. You can then play this ball, or if not, you can try and dribble yourself. And even then, maybe you could advance Pereira a little bit. He can definitely take it under pressure. Play to someone like Jordan Ayew, who would then drop it a bit deep. You could have then Ramsey running into the channel or space that's created. There are many other ways we could try and progress the ball. Where, even here, if we just advance it like this, Ayew could then turn with the ball, and you could have Ramsey running. You could have Monga. Even if you play out to Ramsey, you could then have there are many ways you could try and deal with this. But if we just go back to Fatawu having it and having this half space run, if we get that half space run, then I just don't think we utilize our crosses well enough or have the right members in the box, because at this point you should essentially be seeing them packing the box in.
But you see, Duck, what you've pointed out, and Carol's put it here, right, is that basically what you're suggesting in your play is you're talking about a more intricate style of football. Because if you rewind that and you have the ball out there to Nelson, right, he's not going to play it into Fatawu. What he's going to do is he's going to be looking for the pass into Ayew. If you can reset your board state, that's what he's trying to do.
I don't know if I can, but I'll get it back.
Yeah. What they've been instructed to do is, you see it a lot, is they are asked to bounce it into the false nine, right? So they're going to bypass that ball into Ferreira or even Fatawu. They're going to try and
let's just say something like this, right?
There we go. So Nelson there, he's going to try and play a line breaking pass that exactly.
A low ball
he's
going
to try and bounce it. Yeah, to
Ramsey.
Attack. Yes.
And he's then going to turn and get on a spike, and then Ramsey. And even then, I don't seem could Monga then not just try and cut in here? Play so we have more into space, overload a bit, so they have to decide between the options. But I think if I just go back to what I really want to finish what I had before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quickly, when we make that run, I just don't feel like we do enough with the ball here. Because we often see Ayew, or let's just look at the replay before, right? Monga is all the way over here. We need him sprinting towards this back post to show up. And when James then has the ball here, his option needs to be, Carlo will probably be fighting with Fatawu here to get back. But you have a Ramsey, you have the ball here, and if we can't, from the byline here, get across in here, we can then play it back to a Fatawu who's still then one-on-one. And we need more options. Obviously, they will be dragging more members back. But there are better ways to play, because I feel like so many of our crosses just either, are overshot, or we throw it high into the middle here, where it is mainly just an Ayew or a Daka who will be cramped, or Monga who can't compete for the air. So I'd rather see us try and play the low ball across. Then Monga needs to get into this position first and foremost. Or if not, we can recycle it back, and all of a sudden we've got a bit more space to work with, where, the quality finishing on one of these two could probably... They'll probably keep, the space between the midfield and defense when they play Leicester very, very tight, right? Probably defend something like this. So there won't be much space still, but if we can isolate a few more duels, it will be better for, the chance of getting a quality shot away from Fatawu, which we've seen him do multiple times. I think we could add that in.
I mean, I would be more, I've been saying it for weeks, I'd be more in favor of having a bit more slower and intricate style of play. I'm not saying it will necessarily work, but what we're doing right now definitely ain't working. So I would, and the thing is that I feel as well is that to be honest with you, I would accept having 2 games in a row where you get to minute 60, where it's 65% possession, but we haven't really tested the keeper, because at least we have more control, right? And then from that platform, we could look to try and attack.
But you would try and play with a 5-back, right?
Yeah, we'll come to the moment. Let me just ask you this question, because I think it's a really good one from Craig at Dallas Foxes. So, as I didn't really cover it, but unfortunately, Ramsey is out for a few weeks. And as I just showed you, I think he was the best player in this last couple of games. So, this also delves into, should we change the system for it? So, firstly, who do you think he will do to pick him? Or do you think he might now change the system because he hasn't got him?
I think if he's bold, he will utilize his opportunity to get Mavididi back into the team one way or another. I really, with what we know, Monga prefers to be in the 10. I'd love to see this kind of move, right? Try Monga there. Just try. Be bold, be brave. Or if you're taking the more bland option, you put Mavididi in there, which is still exciting. I want to see him in the 10. I want to see him being given a fair chance. If you take the boring option, well, you drag Ayew down here, and then all of a sudden you've got Patson Daka coming in starting, and you'll just see this. And then I do think it's likely Mavididi will come back into the team, and that's probably what you'll see then. You'll see something like this being the front four next game, which is not something that excites me.
Yeah, this point about the diagonals, you do see it on occasion, but you don't see it enough. But you are right that, again, that's sort of how Enzo did, is he would do the slow build up and then he would look for that as the kind of explosive pass there. Yeah, we'll have to see. But I mean,
I'm gonna drag this down now if we don't have more to go through here. We can
I'll bring mine back up. So thanks, Dean. We'll bring up the tactics board more often. I know people like it. It's very good. So let's just finish up the show then. Here were the results. So Coventry win again. Ipswich beat West Brom. You can see Will still struggling against Blackburn. They were 1-0 up but lost 2-1. Borough got a draw against Wrexham. Norwich, well, they're probably the only team that's doing really worse than us. So of all those results, what does it mean? Here we go with the table. Coventry, fair play to them. Oh my God, it would, of course. Forest have overtaken us. So of course, Coventry were the next team to do it. They're going to win the championship easy at this rate. Unbelievable. 34 goals scored after 12 games. That's ridiculous.
That is crazy.
So what I'd be doing, Marty, is because I still think we've got a better squad than Coventry. I'd be looking at what they're doing very closely, right? And seeing what we can get out of it, right? They're going to be the runaway leaders. It's still a mental championship, though. You would never think after this many games, QPR are above us and they lost one game 7-1, by the way. So that's absolutely insane. Preston and Charlton above us. We struggled against them earlier, so we'll have to see it. But as I said, my point is you've got Leicester, Ipswich and Southampton all the way down here in 20th position. All those teams are struggling. It's got to change things up. The championship has changed, absolutely. Yeah, I do agree with you. Coventry have better strikers than us, but we've got other players in the team as well. And Haji Wright, for as good as he is, he's got a bad first touch as well. I honestly think his first touch is not much better than Patson Daka's, but to be fair, he's finishing. So we've played Millwall now. So next three fixtures before there's a mini break. We've got Blackburn, we've got Borough, both of those games at home, and then we've got Norwich. They probably have changed their manager by then. What do you think? What do you think we're going to get from these three games?
You know what, actually, now that I've thought about it, and I've thought about, the fact that there are so many options Marty can go down and so many routes.
Yeah.
We get all 9. He's going to change it. He's a streaky... He's in the past with QPR, he was a streaky manager. Maybe this was just a bad patch, and now that one win turns into 2, turns into 3, turns into an international break where the mood is great and we all love it, turns into 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins in a row, and all of a sudden we're all happy before we then lose 4 games in a row and all want him sacked again, maybe. Who knows?
Buzz, why are you most confident for that game? That's the game that I'm most scared
We do seem to play up to the better teams, let's just say it like that, right?
Yeah, we'll have to see. Keep the faith, 9 points. I mean, look, the thing is, right, is I will say this, because people have obviously been speculating on the manager. I mean, I think the manager's the least of Leicester's problems right now. At the end of the day, because of PSR, we've lost all of our best players. We've only brought in loan players. We brought in the loan players late. We've got a team that's like 5 or 6 players out of contract. So, to be fair, I was impressed by the amount of work rate Harry Winks was putting in. He might be playing for a move, but I mean... to be fair to him, he was getting stuck in, but that's an issue there in itself. So it was always going to be a rough season. I still think it should be a team that if we don't make the playoffs, that is underperforming for sure.
It is unacceptable.
But the club is in a mess. So yes, I think if you get a better manager in, I would expect us to have done better than we have done before. I'm not going to lie about that. But at the same time, it's like I never saw a situation like Coventry where you're just smashing the league by that much. We ain't got the squad to do that. But at the same time, having said that, I will say, Duck, that Marty's got to wise up quickly, because otherwise he's going to sack himself. It's going to be like Van Nistelrooy, where if you keep making it, or Cooper, if you keep making the same mistakes over and over, it's not going to work. And that's why, say against Blackburn, right? Say he tries 3-4-1-2 from the start against Blackburn, but it's still a draw or even we lose, but Luke Thomas wasn't in the team, right? Obviously, I'd be disappointed, but at least I would think at least he's recognized that something's not working and he's trying to change it. For me,
it's the bare minimum. It's the bare minimum dropping Luke Thomas.
Well, exactly. Like he actually ended up with Wout Faes as a left back or a Coley or something like that. And it's like, if Luke Thomas is in that starting lineup again after his performance there, do you know what? Even try Christiansen. I don't care. Just like, you can't do it. I mean, it's a good question. Why are managers so egotistical? Well, let's ask Duck, because Duck kept his formation against Spurs in the cup final and lost 6-1. So, Duck, why are managers?
Whoa. I will say the only reason I lost that cup final was because Xavi Simons and Vitor Roque just banged in whatever they pleased, man. They single-handedly won the game. They were both on 10 ratings at the end of it. I'm just going to say that. And Stalacic was on a 5.8, so cut me some slack. But what I will say is...
I will say one thing. I'll give you a real answer to that question. So the thing is imagine you're a player and you're coming to training every day and you've got a very detail-orientated coach or manager, and he's showing you all these presentations and he's saying, okay, Andreas, Duck, I need you at this phase of the game, you got to be standing here. At that phase of the game, you got to be standing there. And then when you're training, this type of manager, this is how I would coach it, is that when the game state is there, you'll blow the whistle. Okay, guys, stop. Have a look around you. Okay, you see that? They even have these giant iPad screens these days. And they'll say, okay, do you see this position here? Right, Duck, you're standing here, but I need you to stand there. And okay, so don't worry, mistakes. And then the thing is, right, is you get used to playing that way. Now
it's embedded in you. It's integrated. Yes. And I think my approach, if I was a coach, would probably be, if we lost 4 games in a row, I would tweak it. I would look for solutions to the issues we're having. Yeah. Maybe it's my selection, Luke Thomas, get him out. Maybe it's the fact that I leave my wingers too isolated and I don't deal well enough with that. Then I'd look at how we could change that. And that's the small things you would have to drill down into the specific issues. Why are you not creating enough chances? Mm-hmm. And then you'd find a few reasons why that is, and then try and tweak that in the system so it's not overhauling completely. If you lost then 6-7 games in a row, maybe you say it. Or if you come in from day one saying, when we play, I know Thomas Frank, for example, they were very adaptable. When they came up, he said, we're not going to be able to play the 4-3-3 we want to anymore. We're adapting to a 5-back when we play the big teams. This is how we're going to do it. Then they have trained 2 tactics for that specific moment. But if you come in saying, I'm embedded to my philosophy, this is how we're going to play football, then you're going to keep playing that way, but you're going to tweak it just like Enzo did when he struggled to break down the low blocks. He made tweaks to try and figure out the issue of why they weren't able to break them down.
Well, here's my point. So this is a good thing. The genuine question, is it easy for a manager to just implement new ideas or try a new formation to get quick results from them? That's my point. It is not. So if you're that player and you've had, let's say, 50 hours of being drilled to stand in a certain position, when I now tell you that you need to stand in a different position, right? You've been trained that as muscle memory. So you're automatically, maybe that's why Luke Thomas stepped up when Casper De Norre gets the ball there, right? When he needs to drop because he's too used to thinking about something else, right? So it is tricky. Now, I will say that obviously you're coached as a youngster to play in many systems, and like everyone can play the 4-4-2, right? That's the formation that you all learn when you're a kid. So that one you can go back and forth as you want, but actually it is quite difficult. And that's why normally with system managers, you often see that it can take quite a while for the team to click. Remember even that Jurgen Klopp, when he came to Liverpool, struggled quite badly in his first season, but then they exploded. So it's a good question. And it's not so straightforward, but it depends on what you're going for. And I guess what I'm suggesting is if you go for a bit more of a basic formation, but it works, then maybe you get around it. So question for you, Duck, we'll kind of go into a bit more, I guess, sort of casual mode here. Switching topic, what do you make about the Celtic owner's comments about Brendan Rodgers? That was pretty funny.
I know they don't like their owner over there in Celtic as well, but I say if our owner had the same balls, we wouldn't have been relegated and fired him sooner when the writing was on the wall, instead of doing it at April, late March or whatever it was. So yeah, I mean, kudos to their owner on that at the very least. I can't go into the other issues they're complaining about or whatnot they're saying, but on that singular topic, well done to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one thing I think just to end with, right? So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we'll spend in January unless we sell first. We still have 2 loan slots available. Remember that. So I think they did that deliberately. I think that they might bring in some players if they need to. I think they'd rather not, but I wouldn't be surprised if you do see some players, but who knows if you can get anyone that's good or not. Anyway, we'll leave it there because it's been an hour. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please like the stream. Put a comment down below as to what you think the issue is and what we wanted to fix it. Otherwise, thank you so much. Duck, we've got 2 slots left is what I mean. We have 3 at the moment, but you can have 5. Other than that, Duck, thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully we see the return of Duck's Tactics board next week. Thanks for joining the stream, and we'll see you tomorrow for Fox's Den. Bye-bye.
No more 200 grand, but our new sponsors, The Beautiful Frame, have smashed it with this Jamie Vardy piece. It's unreal. They're a local Leicester business as well, which makes it even better. And not just City, they do prints for other clubs as well. So it's perfect if you are stuck for a birthday or Christmas present for one of your friends or family. Now, the best bit, they have sorted BTG viewers out with a discount. Just use BTG12 at checkout for money off. BTG12. Grab yours now at thebeautifulframe.com. The link is down below.